Hello, my friends in the film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. And really, how long has it been since we've had like the prime crew here? Like all at the same time. Cora's been busy moving. Jeremy did adult stuff and bought a house. Needed to take the last couple of weeks to organize that. Tex is delivering beer. And how long has it been? I almost feel like I don't know how to handle this. It's been so long. I feel like I'm off my game. But I've got the prime crew here to talk about this amazing movie, starting, of course, with the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora. How are you doing right now?
I'm great. I'm so glad the three of us all got our anti-Texan vaccine so that we could be around Tex, just the four of us.
Whatever he's got, it's so strong that we can get it through the internet.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
And, of course, my header last mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Not a lot, just a lot of moving. So I know Cora probably feels my pain. This is trust me, this is something I like just exploded into a corner of a room. So this is subject to change. So don't get too excited if something seems out of place or it's missing because people are creepy like that.
I've rearranged each room in my house 5 times in less than a year. So
yeah, I'm too sore for that shit right now. I'm just it's in a spot and it's staying there. So
is Buttercup happy? Does she like it?
Oh yeah. I don't think she knows what to do with a giant yard all to herself. She just stands there and looks at you like,
is this mine?
Right. But she peed on it. It's definitely hers, but
that's good.
It's hers. Every blade of grass can be peed on before the end of the summer. I will say, though, I like that setup. It has a lot of potential. The pop figures, some posters in the background.
I was like, put something right there. Yeah.
And how many people in the chat think he's wearing a shirt that says "I love Elmo"? Because that's what I thought the first time I saw him.
I'm sorry, it's a new angle. Now you're looking at the side of my ugly face instead of straight on. So, trying to read a shirt's not going to be as easy anymore.
And of course, the shape of the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What's up, brother?
I'm just here to get my truck back. That's all I'm here for.
Oh, there's Buttercup on my shoulder like a little pirate.
I see it while Rachel spotted.
Oh, hi.
But no,
little Buttercup.
Hello.
Hi,
I will say congrats on the new home. I can't wait to get, we've seen cosplayer Grim Tuesday and Fortnite player. Now we get to see homeowner when he's lighting, the hot water heaters and mowing the yard and complaining about the light bill.
No, wait till he can't make a show because the pipe burst or the power's out or the wall's down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've seen cosplayer Jeremy. Now we get to see the Jeremy that is like shopping for home insurance and complaining about rates and shit. That's going to be great. So
he acts like I'm not still going to be sitting here cosplaying. You want to know the funny thing about our dynamic is she's the one that actually mows the yard. I just follow behind with a weed whacker. That's how the machine is oiled, and that's how it gets shit done. Trust me.
Jennifer would 100% mow the yard if I asked her to, or if she needed to. The problem is that she knows how picky I am about my lawn maintenance, how I want everything just so. So that's why I don't let anybody else touch my yard. I will let my grass overgrow for an extra week just because I want to be the one that cuts it a certain way.
Mexicans coming out like, wait a minute, I have to do this.
Yeah, I get it.
So Jennifer's like, do you want me to mow for you? Got to work Saturday. Do you want to mow for you? Like, no, I will do it on one of my own days. I'll come home early one day, or I'll mow after.
I'm the same way.
It's got to be done my way.
I'm that way with my truck and my grill. I do all the repairs, and I'm the only one that cooks on that grill. By God, until I'm dead, no other person will touch either of those things. So I feel you. It's all good.
But let's get right down to it now. One of my favorite movies, one of the classic movies from the 80s, is Big Trouble in Little China, also known as John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. It's a 1986 American fantasy action comedy film, co-scored and directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, Dennis Dunn, and James Hong. The film tells the story of a truck driver named Jack Burton who helps his friend Wang Chi rescue Wang's green-eyed fiancée from bandits in San Francisco's Chinatown. They go to the mysterious underworld beneath Chinatown, where they face an ancient sorcerer named David Lopan, who requires a woman with green eyes to marry him in order to be released from a centuries-old curse. The studio hired Carpenter to direct the film and rushed Big Trouble in Little China into production so that it would be released before a similarly themed Eddie Murphy film called The Golden Child, which in and of itself is a pretty good movie, which was slated to come out around the same time. The project fulfilled Carpenter's long-standing desire to make a martial arts film. Despite receiving generally positive reviews, the film was a commercial failure, and this left Carpenter disillusioned with Hollywood and influenced his decision to return to independent filmmaking. In later years, the film would gain a steady audience on home video and has since become a cult classic. Big Trouble in Little China grossed $2.7 million in its opening weekend and went on to gross $11.1 million in North America, well below its estimated budget of $19 to $25 million, making it a box office bomb. But the film was released in the midst of the hype for a James Cameron blockbuster called Aliens, which was released 16 days after. On DVD commentary for Big Trouble in Little China, Carpenter and Russell discussed this among possible reasons for the film's disappointing box office gross. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 74% based on 65 reviews, with an average rating of 6.4 out of 10. The site's consensus reads, quote, brimming with energy and packed with humor, Big Trouble in Little China distills kung fu B movies as affectionately as it subverts them. It seems like a fair enough kind of breakdown of overall the movie. I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Give me some quick thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, this John Carpenter guy, he does pretty good work. I'd like to see what he may could do in the slasher genre. I feel like he probably has a really good one in him there somewhere. But that being said, jokes aside, this is not necessarily one of my favorite Carpenter films, but even a not as good Carpenter film is better than most anybody else's. So, that's still pretty good high standing. So this is so many things about this film are iconic to the 80s. It just breathes that era, and it's so good to watch it. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun to go through, and a lot that we can break down and talk about here for sure.
Yeah, Cora, I think you probably finished watching this movie about 30 minutes ago. Give me some of your quick thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, that's about how I feel too.
Yeah.
I agree with everything she just said. She just spoke the truth right there about that.
Well, Cora, she's probably having another issue with her microphone. She has that from time to time. Jeremy, I'll go to you. Give me some of your quick thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China.
Stuff definitely happened. Really,
I'm back. Sorry. Sorry about that.
Happened. I like it.
I mean, maybe I should change my quote to the bottom to that. Like, stuff definitely happened. Stuff definitely happened, and it happened. Like, yeah, I understand. It's kind of like I see it's B movie, kind of like quirky quality and fast paced, action, but also humor, one lines thrown in there. And I hadn't seen this in a really long time, probably since like maybe early high school. I don't know. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that like definitely two characters that came out of this definitely inspired Mortal Kombat. And I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely where that came from. Because 2 seconds in, I was like, oh, that's Raiden. That's Raiden for sure. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They totally took that from this movie. And Shang Tsung, who's like the evil sorcerer, is definitely inspired by Lo Pan. So I was like, okay, yeah. And of course, my stupid millennial brain is also thinking of the Ultimate Showdown song. If you know it, Lo Pan is one of the many entourage that go to kick Chuck Norris's ass because it takes quite a bit to do that. So if you know, you know, and if you know what I'm talking about, if you don't,
the entire nation of China could not kick Chuck Norris's ass. One cowboy boot, one spin kick of a cowboy boot, he takes them off the map, buddy.
That's what he does. Like he enters that fucking battle in that song and he kicks everyone's ass, and it takes, like I said, an entourage of like movie like villains and heroes and everybody to like barely be able to kick his ass. So yeah, Lo Pan being one of them. That's why it stuck out in my head. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You need Lo Pan, Superman, all the Power Rangers, everybody. So yeah, stuff happened. I'll just stick with stuff happened.
Cora, what do you think? I think you watched this movie just today, actually, before we went live. What are some of your quick thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China?
I'd seen it once before years ago. A college boyfriend made me watch it because this was one of his favorite movies. I'd never seen it. And I watched it today and remembered nothing from before. like anything. I would say for me, watching it as if it's new again, it's like a cross between the movie Convoy, Labyrinth, and the TV show Power Rangers. And
yeah,
my favorite part is like it seems silly, but at the very beginning when he's in the truck and he's talking on CB radio, that's the original podcast. He's like, to anybody listening and just talking like, the Pork Express or whatever. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is where podcasts came from. Like this kind of shit. So that was pretty cool.
Thanks, Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Just from that one scene alone, I didn't realize that I got a shout out. He said it's all in the retexts, right? I mean, didn't everybody else hear that when he says that in that as well? Or was that just
I think in your old age, you might want to get your hearing checked, Tex.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's the Texas mindset where you think everything is about you. It's okay.
I thought I was just so cool that, I mean, Kurt Russell is one of my favorites. He was giving me a shout out decades ago, but it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, he really do.
But let's talk for a minute about John Carpenter. I mean, come on. The guy has... We've talked about John Carpenter before. We've talked about other movies he's done and been involved with, Halloween specifically. I mean, but let's take a minute to again, wax philosophically about how great he is. Do you think this... I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Do you think this movie showed a little bit of range from him? Because a lot of directors kind of get locked into one kind of movie. They don't generally try to explore different genres and try to stretch themselves out as storytellers. The one that I think has done it a lot is Spielberg, but I don't quite put Carpenter at that level. But I mean, it's nice to see a guy step away from what he's most known for to try to tell a different story. Do you think that this showed a little bit of range on his part?
For sure. I mean, it's like we've mentioned. I mean, you start with something like Halloween that becomes a big slasher, a big, staple in that genre. And then, he does something like They Live, or he does something like The Thing, or he does, I mean, even though that's
Branch of Darkness.
Yeah. I'm like, even like The Thing is not like a horror movie per se, but it's like, it's different. You know what I mean? And like one of my favorite, like just offshoot, like weird things is They Live, right? That's a different kind of story in itself. You're not talking about slashers and stuff like that. He can definitely tell different kinds of genres and stories. Now, if you hadn't told me, I mean, if you said like this thing was like just kind of rushed through the door, I'm like, yeah, I believe it, because it was like it just like, I understand you can do breakneck speed, but I'm like, okay, but you got to slow down before you give me whiplash. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We have one simple plot, one thing to do, and we're taking like an hour and 20 minutes to fucking do it. And you even fucked it up. You went in there and you're like, hey, where is she? Ah, damn it, she's still back there. I'm like, so now I got to watch you do another half hour of this bullshit again to do this thing. You went in there. First of all, I know he's the, he's the goofy American guy, but you don't shoot above your head and knock yourself the fuck out. I'm like, God damn it, dude, you did not just do that. It is fight time and you knocked yourself out. Come on. It was funny. It genuinely got a laugh at me, but I'm like, really, dude, damn it. I'm not saying it wasn't entertaining or it wasn't fun. I don't know why, though. Unfortunately, like I said, maybe because it only had one plot point it had to solve, which was a pretty basic plot of just, save these two girls.
And kill the supernatural bad guy that's trying to take over the world.
Out of all that, and you have two people, though, that happen to have green eyes. I'm like, if you sat there for like over 2,000 fucking years not finding somebody, and then suddenly in the year of our Lord, 1986, there's two of them in the same damn place, I'm like, that just seemed really convenient. I'm like, okay, you don't have to have them both have a reason to, like Kurt Russell and his buddy. Like, I know they both have a stake in it. Like, they both want to save this girl for their own means.
Doesn't this have a ring of the Vigo painting guy in the Ghostbusters where he's trying to sacrifice the chick, to get a body again and take over the world? I was watching this and I'm like, how many movies in the 80s have they made where there's a being that has to sacrifice a woman to get a body again? I'm like, I don't know.
Something like that. The only knock that I had on it was I was like, Jesus, what was this movie like? I mean, really, like hour and a half ish, maybe.
Yeah, almost
Something
2
like that.
hours ish with credits and crap.
They could have cut 20 minutes out of it, and it would have been better.
I agree. I was like, I felt like if it was an hour and a half, it felt like it was fucking 3.5 hours. I'm like, oh my god.
If this was a 90 minutes instead of long as it was, that would have been better off.
Like the whole scene of them going through the catacombs to go from their place to Lil Pan's place. Like they could have skipped half of that shit. Sure, the funny thing with the eyeball, like thing, but it's just like, oh no, that is the river of Earth, Black Death, living Earth. I don't know. Whatever the fuck it was. I'm like, why do I need to know this? Just get to the fucking Lil Pan's place and kick some ass. Like, what are we doing here?
And I understand the random like monsters and crap. It's John Carpenter and he does these weird little monsters well, but I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? What? Okay, so he has this weird eyeball monster that's like his little personal like drone to just like spy on shit. I'm like,
did he look like the twins from that Bill and Ted's thing?
I mean,
it looked like those to me.
From Station, no. Station was way better.
I don't know. I'm not okay. To the point though, I'm not saying he did a bad job. It's like, yeah, you stretched out to something different. Like it makes me always think of like, when again, I'm not trying to pedestal anybody here, but like you think of Mel Brooks, like why did he do Spaceballs? Because he's like, fuck it, I never made a space movie, so fuck it, I'll go do that now. You know what I mean? He's done like every genre of movies, so I mean, I can't fault a guy for wanting to do something different, and success or not. I mean, it gets there in the end. Like we've said, this is a cult classic movie. I mean, it's not you look back on it, you're like, yeah, actually, it wasn't as bad. Then after you played Mortal Kombat a few times in your childhood, like I did, I was like, wait a minute. That's Raiden. That's Raiden for sure. This dude with the big hat and the lightning powers, like, you can't tell me. And I think Lo Pan was the basis for Shang Tsung also in Mortal Kombat. So thanks for that, I guess, John Carpenter. That's cool.
Didn't all the bad guys look like the bad guys in Power Rangers? Horrible costumes, doing weird movements.
I mean, I like cheesy. I mean, because I grew up on that too. Like, and like Ninja Turtles. I'm like, I appreciate stuff like that. And when I was just watching somebody review the old Planet of the Apes movies. I'm like, you got to admit, like, they put some effort into these outfits.
They did.
So I can appreciate that. I'm a sucker for practical in any use as much as you can. So.
Let's talk for a minute about the cast real quick. Again, loaded with some people who at the time were already pretty big stars. I'll go to you first, Cora. Who on the cast stood out to you the most? What do you think of the cast overall?
It was good. I mean, I've seen some of the people in some things and some of things in others that, I mean, they blended well together. I mean, there wasn't a lot of talking. It was more action running around shit. But, I mean... They picked some fantastic people for playing the Lo Pan guy. I don't know who James Hong is. Victor Wong, he was great, especially at the beginning when he was talking to the cop, which, by the way, I have to say, why is there no tie-in at the end where he's talking to the cop, his lawyer, cop, whatever, at the beginning, but at the end, all you have is... the main character giving a Gone with the Wind goodbye to Grace. And that's it. Like, there's no tie-in. Like, why was he talking to his lawyer about what happened? But then at the end, there's no tie-in. But anyway, the point is...
I actually have some trivia about that later on as to why they put that scene in.
Okay.
But Victor Wong was great. The only casting, or maybe this was the writing, was the guy Thunder. He looked like he was trying to like push a turd out every fucking scene, like, and just like, just go take a shit already. It's like too much.
No,
man, I don't. Maybe I should never show Dragon
Ball Z. That guy was Asian Michael Myers.
It's just a bunch of screaming. That's all it is.
Especially when he's in that round room and he's like growing, like. How does he grow like that? Is he like one of those sponges that you put in the water and all of a sudden you get a dinosaur? Like, what happens?
I'm all for, like, you want to have these weird, like, powers and crap, but it seems like every time something happens in this movie, I'm just like, I mean, I'll just like, okay, sure, I'll accept that. That's a thing in this movie. But I'm like, But you do that every single time some new random bullshit happens, and I'm like, what are the rules of this world? Like, huh? What?
Because you notice only those
pufferfish and fucking pieced out. I'm like, huh?
Only the 3 guys in the basket hats really do that green thunder shit or lightning shit. But yet everybody else has powers. So are some powers not green lightning? I don't.
If you're gonna keep just power leveling bullshit on top of bullshit, I'm like, okay, but you gotta like explain something here. I'm okay with the fact that it kind of seemed like it was a mystery of like Egg Shing was saying like, oh yeah, it's just Chinese magic. That's real. I'm like, okay, good enough for me, I guess. Especially if he just thunder claps his hands, all of a sudden lightning starts shooting between his hands. I'm like, okay, yeah, you got me, dude.
I don't know, Frank. Did you think the cast was fantastic? I mean,
well, I usually go last. I don't know, Jay. Do you want to give some more thoughts? What do you think of the cast overall, and who's your favorite?
I would definitely have said Egg Shen, Victor Wong's character, because he just seems like fun. I love when side characters like that are just fun. It's like he knows more than he lets on, because they're like, oh yeah, this old sorcerer guy, he's the one giving them trouble, and he's the one that tells Kurt Russell and his buddy, like, yeah, you're not going in there without me, and if you don't drink this shit, you're gonna die. Like, and they're just kind of like, nah, all right, dude.
And then they're taking shots back like they're at a bachelor party or at a strip club. Like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
It's like it seemed there was something more between Victor's character and the guy who played Lo Pan. I'm like, yeah, there's some probably 2,000-year-old feud going between these guys. He's some old sorcerer who's been just like, he's kind of like the Master Yoda. He's just been kind of sticking around to just keep throwing wrenches in the machine.
Oh, good reference.
Which is always kind of funny to me. So I can always appreciate a character like that.
No. Tex, what do you think? What do you think of the cast overall, and who is your favorite person in this movie?
Well, comedically, I have to go with Wang, just because there's a guy named Wang, and every time I heard them say Wang, I laughed a little bit because I'm a child inside. But besides that, it's Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's awesome. He's like, okay, now to me, he's cooler than Harrison Ford. I know I'm probably on the minority side of that, but Kurt Russell is always one of those guys. If he's in a movie, I'll go see it. Hell, I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just because he was in it. And I don't give a crap about those Marvel crap. But yeah, no, Kurt Russell, he's cool in whatever he does. I don't know, Frank probably has this factoid, but the movie Grindhouse that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did some years ago, the T-shirt from this movie is actually hanging in the first part, Death Proof, just as an homage to Kurt Russell. So, it's Kurt Russell's. I mean, he's one of those '80s guys that he's the standard bearer of what was cool. You know what I mean? So,
and he had great hair. Like for a guy,
let's talk about that mullet though. That '80s mullet,
great mullet
on a young Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Thank you.
That mullet right there
how do you
is
say
like
no?
Jeremy, you should grow your hair out like that.
No.
You need that haircut.
Here's the funny thing. I already have done that before. Trust me. In high school, that's the haircut I had. No joke.
Love it.
I'm sure my mom.
If I could grow a full head of hair,
back that up. Trust me.
If I could grow a full head of hair, I'd have the biggest redneck mullet you ever seen. I'd make Joe Dirt look like a scrub. But he put
Billy to shame.
Isn't the bald mullet a thing in Texas? You got like you got a little bit of Jean Carpenter going on, but it just comes down.
I can do the Hulk Hogan mullet. There just won't be anything on top. You know what I mean? I can do the sides and the back.
Texas has no business, all party. That's all it's going to be.
Right.
You could get a wig, Tex, right? You could glue it to the top of your head and have it trimmed.
I'm good. I'm good. No, thank you. I don't think I'm going to be doing that.
There's my mom's comment to back that up.
BJ's telling stories. I didn't see a picture of that. I need to see this picture of BJ.
Now, I will say,
I can dig it out. I think I still have one. Yeah.
As a young Tex, like up to like 10 years old, I had and Frank will know what I'm talking about. I had the Troy Aikman mullet from whenever he was playing for his early years for the Cowboys, where it was not as long on the back, but it was like, to the base of the neck here. So I had the Troy Aikman cut. And I even told the haircut person that's what I wanted because Troy Aikman's the best of all time. So
I would imagine that was something that was said a lot back in the mid-late 90s in Texas was give me the Troy Aikman. There's probably like 7 million people walking around in Dallas metro area with the Troy Aikman mullet.
Right. Yeah. I probably wasn't the only one, but I felt special because me and Troy Aikman had the same haircut, by God. So
I'm looking it up. All it looks like is a normal haircut on top with a little bit long on the back. That doesn't seem like a true mullet to me.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like Joe Dirt long. It was just like to like the base of the neck. It wasn't like super long because my mom wouldn't let it go that far. But,
But it doesn't look so bad.
Yeah, for me, I mean, this cast from top to bottom does really well. Kurt Russell's Kurt Russell. He was already. I mean, you got to remember, Kurt Russell got his start back in the I want to say late '60s, early '70s, doing the Disney stuff. So I mean, it's like Kurt Russell had been around for a while. And then, of course, coming from his famous father and all that. But yeah, I mean, he certainly runs this movie, despite the fact that he's kind of the sidekick. We'll go into that a little bit later. But the two that stand out to me, one of them is what's the guy's name? Dennis Dunn, who plays his buddy in all this. The guy right there in the middle. He is the ultimately the hero of this whole thing. It's like he's the one that is really kind of carrying the show, but Kurt Russell just comes in to steal scenes, which normally I would be annoyed by that, but I'm like, the way this movie was put together, it kind of worked out. It kind of should have been that, because this movie was kind of at its heart a little bit. It was kind of part spoof, part martial arts action-y thing, part comedy, part Indiana Jones adventure flick. It was an amalgamation of a lot of fun different things that they just happened to get the recipe right. Mm-hmm. But the other one that stands out to me, I'm not gonna lie, is James Hong. I mean, that guy has been an absolute legend. Yeah. I actually donated some money a year or so ago because one of the guys in the newer Hawaii Five-0 show was actually started a campaign to get him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Ooh. And I was just like, who the hell else deserves it more than this guy? He's been around for so long, done so many things. I mean, not just in martial arts, but in comedy. He's like, did you ever see Balls of Fury? The movie with Christopher Walken?
Yep. Like he's hilarious.
He's the guy who teaches the other guy the way of the paddle or whatever the hell he was talking about in the movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. But it's like even comedy. I mean, the guy's just absolutely golden whenever he's on screen. Everything from drama to martial arts stuff that you just got spoofy movies like this. It's like every time he's on screen, he just brings a little something that just makes this movie better. He classes up the joint in a way that a lot of actors can't. And he's the one that stands out to me the most because that guy, I've seen him in so many things from TV shows in the 70s all the way up into the 90s and 2000s. He does a lot of voiceover work now. I know he's done a lot of stuff for Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, some of the newer animated stuff. So he's doing a lot of voiceover work and not so much on camera stuff now. But I mean, the guy has just been an absolute gem for decades. I mean, for 50 years or more. The guy's just been doing great and lending his face and his classy demeanor, dignified demeanor to the screen and making everything better. But yeah, I mean the three. I was trying to think of a fun name for them. Three amigos, almost. I mean, it's like,
the basket fun lightning wranglers or whatever.
Yeah, the Wicker people, the Wicker Warriors.
People.
But yeah, those guys were cool too. But I mean, but really, it was those two that really jumped out at me the most. But now let's go back into the plot of the movie a little bit more. Obviously, gotta kidnap these girls and marry them and blah blah blah. It was kind of, to me, this movie, like I said, it was a bit Indiana Jones, kind of an adventure movie. Definitely the martial arts stuff. A bit of a spoof. They do kind of make fun at times, ironically, of the martial arts stuff. Action-y. It kind of had a lot of different things, but whereas normally a movie like that can run the risk of getting really messy and uneven, I feel like Carpenter kind of put it all in the right proportions in this to make this movie really entertaining. Cora, what do you think? I mean, was it like a mixture to you, or would you have leaned more in one direction or the other?
I would say it's a nice little what's the phrase, like a perfect little quilt of all these genres patched together just right. Because I'll be honest, neither stand out to me, but I can't say one it didn't have aspects of one or the other. Like I love the random comedic moments, like especially now as an adult, like when he's on the phone in the robe bitching to his insurance company about, I don't know my policy number, look up my name. And I'm just like, this is real life shit. But it's so funny how he delivered it. So I would say it's a perfect blend. I wouldn't say any stand out above the other. I like it.
I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think? Was it a good mixture of all this different stuff, or would you have made it more martial arts, or maybe more actiony? What would you have done with it?
Like I said, it seemed. I mean, the elements of like where I could have pointed out, and if you didn't tell me who made this movie, where I could have said, "Hey, that's Carpenter." I'm like, those weird little monsters that kept popping up. I'm like, well, there's that, and there's your practical monster effects.
But didn't they seem like Jim Henson-esque too, or Tim Burton?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you've seen like the puppetry work on something like The Thing,
Oh, okay.
Comes
I
out
haven't
of Dude's
seen that.
chest, so that's that's kind of where I was like, well, see, there's what you're kind of known for, what you're good at. Now, him telling, like I said, where you got this. Of course, there's this like underground thing underneath Chinatown. That's where the flying fuck was happening for like half this movie. That's kind of like that element of like They Live, where it's like there's something going on here underneath the surface that you haven't fully seen yet, or that you could understand. So there's that, and I don't know about like slasher, but I mean like that monster was pretty damn persistent. It's holding on to his semi truck at the end of the movie, like ready to kill him. So I don't know. Is
that supposed to be like a part of? It's like a Harry Potter thing where there's like 7 parts of Voldemort and different things, and like is that a part of Lopan? Like is that monster
like,
Lopan?
Because you had like the sorcerer, you had like the old man in the chair, you had So I don't know if there was he had like other forms or other avenues he's probably tried in the last 2,000 years.
Because that one guy blew up as soon as he realized the guy was dead, but that monster's not dead. I don't know. It was just one of those riddles. Maybe it's supposed to be like a parody thing. Like he's still, I don't know.
That thing, yeah. It looks cool as shit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the work on that's really cool.
Not bad for 1986. Remember, there was John Carpenter, who this kind of thing was already kind of right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I think it may have been Jim Henson's company that did the work on this. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, cool.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I would have to look that up again, to be honest.
I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I'm also trying to find a mullet. I think I may have found one. This is the mullet like wetted down, and I'm also like 18 years old. It was a long son of a bitch. I'm telling you.
You look like Kurt Cobain, kind of.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, Kurt Cobain, but alive. He's not, have a shotgun in his mouth.
Oh my God!
I was about
to go there.
I actually hold on. I was actually alive when Kurt Cobain was alive for a fucking minute. Okay,
about 10 minutes.
There's no reincarnation there.
Oh no!
I existed at the same time he did. So,
and if you stay away from Courtney Love, you'll stay alive. But don't go around her.
Don't ever go near her. Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought I got aged just watching her on screen when we were doing the Larry Foot review. I had to go wash myself because I was like, I had to watch Courtney Love on screen. Douse myself in disinfectant. But Tex, how about you? Plot of the movie. I mean, did it work for you, or would you have made it a little bit darker? Because as dark as the color palettes, the tone of the movie were, it was a lot more comedic than anything else. Was there something you would change, or you think this worked the way they put it together?
Well, knowing Carpenter and his skills that he has in and I'm not just talking Halloween. I could do 8 hours alone talking about Halloween. But Carpenter, he's one of the few that I would qualify as a master of horror, and he has the ability to bring in darkness but still make it a serviceable plot without just being there for the gore and the kills. I would have cut down on the comedy. The whole the two women with green eyes, like Kim Cattrall, the lawyer, she was known to this other group, so the other group had to have known her too. Like, how did they never come across her?
And didn't the girl have to be Chinese?
Right.
Well, no, he was enamored because two girls with green eyes or whatever he says in that scene there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have made this film a little darker, took away some of the comedy, but I know why it was there because I know this wasn't a send up to kung fu movies, but it kind of feels like one at times, especially with Kurt Russell cutting one-liners like he's, Han Solo or somebody. But I would have trimmed this down a little bit. There was a little too much plot getting in the way of the story for me on this one. Like I said, I think 90 minutes probably would have been better, but he's John Carpenter to me is one of those few directors. You just let him do whatever he wants because he's earned it. I mean, he's done enough things in his career. He gets carte blanche to just go. So this is not the movie I would have made, but that's just
it sounds like you're saying it could have been worse, but it
right. Oh yeah, no, this is not a bad movie. Now, like I said, I mean, as far as top Carpenter movies go, I mean, Halloween, They Live, The Fog, Christine. I mean, there's so many, Prince of Darkness. There's so many good ones he's done. This is not a bad movie. It's just not my style of movie. I'm not the closest I get to Kung Fu is Walker, Texas Ranger. Anything past that, I don't really care. So, it's, it's one of those things, but, it's, I prefer the horror side of Carpenter, and there's elements of it in here, but I would have liked to have seen it turned up a little bit more for my standards.
For me, there were parts of this movie that were a bit ridiculous, but case in point. But
fact, but what?
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the movie, though, is the whole movie was a bit. I don't want to say silly, but I mean that's kind of the idea, is that it was not a put up, not quite a spoof. It was just this outrageous telling of the story. So yeah, you got to save the girl from the from the crazy Asian guy who's cursed and needs to marry her to break the curse. I mean, that wasn't exactly it wasn't exactly a new storyline, but it's like, but again, it's in the presentation. They kind of wrapped it up in a really cool package to where you do, like, you mentioned Han Solo a minute ago. That's kind of the role he was playing. He was that, because that's what Han Solo was. He was essentially the Jack Sparrow without the walking funny.
He didn't have he didn't have a Millennium Falcon. He had an A2 with him, so he had his vehicle too. So.
Yeah, he had the Peterbilt.
You got your cargo vehicle, yeah.
but that's kind of what it was. And so the ridiculousness of this movie, like I said, it's all the recipe. A little bit of Indiana Jones, a little bit of the martial arts stuff, a good amount of the comedy. Because let's face it, the 80s was really big on comedy. There was a lot of people trying to make comedy movies in the 80s, and some of them were great, some of them were terrible. But, I mean, comedy was kind of the order of the day for the 80s. Everybody wanted to make the next great comedy back then. So you had a little bit of this. And, of course, martial arts movies have always been a big thing. They've been on a bit of a lull the last 15 years or so. But in the 70s and 80s, it's like there were martial arts movies all over the place. So you had a little bit of all this. Plus, Kim Cattrall was really coming into her own as an actress in the early 80s. Like the James Hong had been around for a long time, Kurt Russell, all these guys, and the guys that played the Wicker brothers. The one on the left, he was in. I'm drawing a blank on what the hell he was in. He was in another big martial arts movie or TV show or something at the time. I forget what. And the guy in the middle right there, actually, I think he was a real life not. I don't think they really had MMA at the time. But he was a real life, big time martial artist who actually went around and did like tournaments and stuff like that.
Shit.
As I recall, I'm blanking his name for some reason. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good for what it was at the time. I just don't think at this era of filmmaking they gave too much of a shit about the story. It's like today it's really easy because like Marvel's kind of, for the first three phases anyway, kind of spoiled us with not just giving us the style but also the substance. There was good stories by and large. I mean, 90% of the MCU up through phase 3 was really great storytelling, and that was really what drove all that. I think DC has done a better job storytelling than what would have been done in the 80s. But I mean, storytelling wasn't really a big part of filmmaking back in the mid 80s. It was really the decade of style over substance. And this movie had a great style. I mean, hell, this scene alone is actually pretty cool. I remember watching this as a kid in the 80s, and I was like, holy shit. It's like, look at these guys ghosts fighting above where these guys are and shit like that. I remember being blown away by that. Nowadays, it's the kind of stuff you can do on your phone. But back then, I mean, the special effects were even pretty cool. I mean, even this thing, that was a pretty good special effect for 1986. I mean, that was pretty wild. This floating head with 3 eyes or 8 eyes or whatever the hell's coming out of those tentacles around its body. Like, that was wild enough. But, I thought the plot and everything worked out really well. It's just, like I said, the movies that stand out in the 80s, and I don't think this is an accident. I think the movies that have stood the test of time that came out in the late 70s into the 80s were ones that had a good balance of style and substance. They had the story and they had the effects. Terminator, for one. Terminator's a pretty cool movie. I mean, that story still holds up. It's sci-fi. It's action. It's kind of it's a kooky idea to think about time travel. That's a story that was told very well by James Cameron. And so that's one of the reasons why movies like that have stood the test of time, because the storytelling is fantastic. Not that the gross special effects driven stuff can't be fun and aren't still watchable, but they don't have the I don't have that emotional connection to either the characters or the story that the long lasting movies do. But that leads us to the next question: is why don't they make good martial arts films anymore? It's not like there aren't martial artists out there who can't get in front of a camera. Jackie Chan had been doing it for years to much smaller budgets, of course. But I mean, Jackie Chan's been out there for years. It's not like we don't have great fight choreography in Hollywood these days. It's not like we don't have access to people in the Asian countries that are very good at the martial arts stuff and put them on camera and tell these stories. It's not, now I'm not talking inclusivity. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just great martial arts movies. Because remember, like I said, the 70s and 80s, these movies were fantastic and they were huge draws. Jeremy, why do you think they don't really try to get into the martial arts genre anymore?
Because no one asked Jaden Smith to fucking remake The Karate Kid. That's why.
Will Smith convinced him to do that. That was pretty slap. So
you convinced him as so much as was that big word nepotism, but okay. I mean, yeah, you said Jackie Chan. I was like, oh yeah, Jackie Chan's cool, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that remake happened. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like we've talked about, like the thing in the I did want to say like maybe the 60s, 70s, there was Westerns all over the place. Like that was the big thing in Hollywood, was to be, you making Westerns left and right. Then we had slashers, and then you had I'm trying to go through these decades here. I'm like, I don't know if there was ever, I mean, maybe in the 80s or so, yeah, you had more action stuff like that. Even into the 90s, I guess, like we said, with Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, with what probably inspired the game Mortal Kombat, right? And we had those entertaining movies in the 90s of Mortal Kombat, and I hesitate to say Street Fighter, but I mean, it was entertaining. So I don't know. I don't want to say it's like, well, we've been down that road. We've done it before. It's not like it couldn't be done. I don't know if I don't want to go back with another question, but like, would it hit the same way? Like, would it feel like those movies that we all come to know? Like I said, like with stuff like this or Power Rangers or any of the, you start even talking about like some of the Bruce Lee movies, right? Like you start talking about some End of the Dragon type shit. Like those movies are gold, right? But I don't know. Maybe that's a lightning that struck once, and I'm trying to do the thing. Someone edit that in. Put the lightning in my hands. Yeah, that would look cool. We'll fix it in post. I don't know. I'm not really sure why. It'd be fun to go visit that again, I guess. I don't want to say it just because we've done it before.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like they haven't. I mean, they made Ninja Assassin came out several years ago, which I thought was a fantastic movie. And Tarantino even did kind of an homage to the martial arts genre with Kill Bill. But mainly what he did is he had those visual notes that cut to it, like cigarette burns up in the corner and the weird editing choices, the sudden editing cuts that he made, things like that were very reminiscent of the old 70s martial arts stuff. But I don't know, Tex, what do you think? Is there a reason why we don't try more martial arts movies these days? Because they're great storytelling vehicles, I think.
Is there I don't think there's a demand for it. I mean, there was a couple years ago when what's that Karate Kid show that
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai was big, like when that first season was on YouTube or whatever, and then Netflix took over. That was huge for a long time. And then of course we had the Shang Chi, or however you say that, Marvel. That movie kind of came and went. I don't like remember people really going gaga over that one. So I don't know if there's really a demand for Asian kung fu movies like we had previously. I mean, there's no. We kind of get kung fu. I mean, isn't every Batman movie technically a ninja movie because he's kind of a ninja in a way? I mean, he was trained by one. I mean, so we're getting that fix of karate without, kung fu masters and shit. We're just doing it differently these days. I know I've never said, "Hey guys, let's go see the new karate movie." Never said that in my life, but I feel like if there's a demand, it would probably be met with as many streaming services and movie houses as there are these days. But I just don't think one's there.
I forgot we also made a Dragon Ball Z movie that was also very bad. And I forget
they did make one of those. Dragon Ball. I saw that. I saw that.
How old Dragon Ball is too. I'm like, it was in the Dragon Ball was in like the 80s. Dragon Ball Z was in the 90s ish.
What was that? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Wasn't that one pretty popular when it came out?
That was good.
20 years ago or something.
Yeah, that was
the musical score on that movie was like it was a fantastic movie.
I'm trying to think of another karate movie besides Kill Bill, because I was going to say that one, but Frank already said. I can't think of any other. Oh, didn't Tom Cruise do a Last Ninja or some shit movie?
Last Samurai or something?
Yeah, but that was more of a dramatic piece. That was more of a dramatic piece.
Wasn't that a biopic too?
It's based on a real person. And it was also more dramatic than anything else.
Didn't Keanu Reeves make one like Ronin 47 or something? Or 47 Ronin? Yeah.
I would classify John Wick as a kung fu movie, but that's just me.
Well, it's good. Yeah, when you smack somebody in the face with a fucking Glock and you shoot him in the mouth, like, I mean, you do it fancy enough, you can say it's kung fu. But
hey, just the fight, and I'm just going off qualifying it based off of the fight coordination alone. That's some ninja stuff right there, buddy.
It is.
That's all I'm saying.
So, just, I mean, you're not using your fist, you're using the gun, but yes, very much so.
Well,
you're bringing a gun to a kung fu fight, you're gonna fucking win.
John Wick uses Glock fu instead of Kung Fu. You know what I mean?
I think they've officially coined that term when it comes to the John Wick.
It's gun fu.
Gun fu. Yeah.
It's gun fu. Yeah, it's whatever. Look at Deadpool. Deadpool could be a ninja. Why not?
Well, actually, isn't the Matrix kind of that way too? Kind of with some more guns. He just kind of
Matrix too.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and also that second Wolverine movie, the one that. With the Silver Samurai. Yeah, the one in Japan, too.
It was just called
Wolverine. So there's been a good... Yeah, but there's been a good number of them.
Just because there's a person who uses martial arts in a movie doesn't make it a martial arts movie. I mean, speaking, Jet Li is in, Lethal Weapon 3. That doesn't make it a martial arts movie. It's definitely just a straight-up action film. So, but because he uses some karate to kick a lot of people's asses, that doesn't make it it doesn't make it a martial arts film. To me, a true martial arts film is something like David Carradine's show, Kung Fu, that was on forever back in the 70s into the 80s. Like, that's about martial arts, about a martial artist. It's a significant part of the story. Whereas I don't think the martial arts is a significant part of John Wick. I mean, it's really all about fighting. You know what I mean? I would say that Kill Bill is a better martial arts movie than John Wick.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's all about the swordplay and the philosophy of martial arts as opposed to just throwing punches and kicks.
When it comes to Kill Bill, Tarantino. When it comes to Kill Bill, Tarantino was specifically paying homage to that genre of film. That's why it has the style of a kung fu movie. That's why that's more of a kung fu.
But it's still a lot more about the philosophy of it, though, rather than just the guys are throwing kicks and punches and flying through the air and making noises when they punch and shit like that. I mean, anybody can go out there and act like Bruce Lee in front of a camera, but that doesn't make them a kung fu artist. You know what I mean? or Jeet Kune Do was his thing. But
Jeet Kune Do, yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't want to break Texas' heart, but Bruce Lee kicked Chuck Norris's ass in that fucking movie. Just saying.
That never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was in the script.
Chuck Norris let him win. He let him win to make himself feel good. He let him win.
Because he didn't kick a man on screen, and he broke the arm of the guy who fucking caught
Chuck
him.
Chuck Norris knew he was. Before even going into the fight, he knew he was more manly. So in order to make Bruce Lee feel good about himself, he gave him the win. That's how that would go. So.
I don't know. Cora, what do you think? I don't know how into martial arts films you are, but
I like
is the reason why we don't see them these days?
Well, I think they're out there. I think just making a good one these days, nobody takes the time to do it. So I think people just cling to the oldies but goodies. But I mean, I think it's a fad, it's an interest, and I think it might come and fluctuate in the future. We might get more, who knows? But it's just like anime, it's the whole genre in itself. And I think it just will come with time. Maybe they'll make more, maybe they won't. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's kind of like my mom said right there. You know how long it takes to learn how to do that shit?
Yeah,
I did it. I think I packed it up. It's somewhere out there in a box. I'm like, I still got my plaque and my belt somewhere. I'm like, it kicks your ass.
I may not know kung fu, but I know how to beat your ass. That's all I need to know, buddy. So,
hey, look, man, I know how to use guns too. I'm just saying we can go John Wick. We don't have to go fists. We can lay some ground rules here.
You may be able to break a board, but can you stop this 45? That's all that matters.
Exactly.
1,300 feet per second, son. I don't know if you can kick that fast, but or whatever a 45 goes. I don't know what the muzzle velocity is.
Kind of slow.
Off the top of my head,
hard.
But it's fast. That's all I know. It's still not slow. It's fast.
They smack. Yeah, it's a big round.
Cora raises an interesting point, though, and it's one thing that we've seen, I think, most recently with westerns, is that there's not a dominant genre of film anymore. So it's like you'll see every genre kind of has a weird 3 or 4 years where it peaks, where it becomes the popular thing in Hollywood or TV or just in storytelling at all. It's like we had Volcano and Dante's Peak come out the same year. For some reason, Volcanoes were all the rage for about 2 or 3 years in Hollywood. And not to mention a couple of TV movies and TV shows that came out. Then it's like, and then we saw with the Hateful Eight remake that came out with Denzel and all that. We saw westerns kind of get a little bit of a bump then and then tailed off again. Maybe
I think 3:10 to Yuma got a lot of people interested.
Yeah,
a lot of people watch that.
So it's like, maybe it's just a matter of time before there's going to be that one little bump where someone's like, "Yeah, we're going to go ahead and make a martial arts movie." We haven't seen a good one of those in a couple of years, and then it comes out, it does well, and then suddenly everybody's like, "Hey, maybe martial arts is the new thing," and then we see 3 or 4 years where martial arts movies are tremendously popular. Maybe even bring a couple of guys like Jackie Chan still out there doing it. Maybe Jackie Chan comes out with a new movie or some shit like that.
Wasn't also about the chasing the award seasons? Like if there a lot of if something gets Oscar buzz, like say this year, it gets a lot of traction, then people might be interested. But you have to wait a few years for that shit to be made.
Possible, but Oscars tend to ignore certain genres of movies, like comic book movies. True. It's really
I've heard that.
And horror movies specifically we've talked about tend to get ignored by all the awards people. And I think martial arts films are ones that have not gotten a lot of love from Oscar voters over even when they were tremendously popular in the 70s and 80s, they never got a great deal of love from any of the awards people.
A few years ago on AMC, it was like in the highlight period of when Walking Dead was going on. They did a show Into the Badlands or something it was called, like it came on like right before Walking Dead or something. It was a very I only watched a few episodes of it. It wasn't my thing, but it was a very stylized, kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style, but that was more of a kung fu thing. So that was, it's been a few years ago now, but so it's still out there. I don't think there's a demand for kung fu at the moment. It's like y'all said, if one hits, we'll get 50 by next month. But right now, nobody gives a crap.
Do you agree, all of you, that we're more likely to get some stupid mini limited series kung fu on Netflix or a streaming service than a nice, properly made movie? It seems like that's the road they're going down to try to bring people in based on interest.
The only movies that get made anymore are ones that have if it's a remake or a sequel because it has a built-in audience already. Studios don't have the money to go out and take a chance on a new property. That's why we get a new Batman every 2 years or Spider-Man or whatever. But so I think the streaming mini deal is probably more likely. Yeah.
Well, it's like you said. We talked about Cobra Kai. I'm like, well, right, because it's derivative from a successful movie from Karate Kid. So it's kind of a safer bet.
It's got the built-in audience.
Yeah.
It's got the built-in audience already.
I don't know about anything like original. And like I said, maybe the only thing that kind of comes close to it, again, I'm going to keep circling back to Mortal Kombat. And I'm like, I'm waiting for that damn sequel. I mean, that was a good, I guess, a reattempt at that movie from the mid-90s. So, I don't know. I'm waiting for the sequel. God damn it. You don't drop a Johnny Cage bomb on me at the end of the damn movie and just leave me hanging there. Come on.
Yeah, you mentioned the Kung Fu TV series. The original Kung Fu series ran from 75 to 79.
Yeah.
And they actually came out with a newer version of it on the CW that ran for about 2 seasons. I never watched it. I always meant to watch it because it's based around some girl. She finds out she's something. I forget what it is. I never got a chance to actually sit and watch it. I was interested enough to try it. I just never got around to studying.
I can't be the only one who's sitting here thinking of Office Space, where it's like, you want to come over and watch Kung Fu? And she's like, I love Kung Fu. And I sit there and watch the old show. Yeah.
Didn't Chris Farley do a Kung Fu comedy movie at some point?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but
he plays a ninja that ruins a dojo.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Hang on, wait, guys. Kung Fu Panda 4 is happening right now. How are we not talking about Kung Fu Panda? It's literally in the title. Just saying, it's literally in the title.
It's not like real people.
Well, animated Pixar stuff though is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like Enter the Dragon or Way of the Fist or some shit like that. Yeah. I'm not talking about Jack Black voicing a non-Asian actor voicing an Asian character. Let's talk about that for a minute. There, woke Hollywood.
The cultural appropriation of the panda needs to be dealt with. By God, that is racism. I will not stand for it.
Do we want to talk about the time that John Wayne was Genghis Khan? I mean, I'll leave you there with that one.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, who was it that played? Fuck, who am I thinking of? The white guy that played not Fu Manchu. What's that old character from the 50s?
Oh,
60s.
I know. Yeah, I was thinking of.
I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember.
I don't even know.
What the hell? Ah, damn it, I'm drawing a blank. But it'll occur to me as soon as I end the stream. It'll occur to me. But
just tweet it. Oh, I figured it out. There it is.
Yeah, but let me ask you guys about this real quick. There has long been rumors of either a sequel or a remake for this movie, and I don't know if that's a good idea necessarily. But I'll go to you first, Cora. Do you think it would be worth doing? Do you think it could be done right these days? Do you think there's actors that could come into this and kind of make it their own? I don't know. What do you think about the prospects of either a sequel or a remake?
I think it's a good idea just as much as a woman over the age of 40 dressing like a 20-year-old thinks it's believable.
Sorry, I vomited a little bit.
Exactly. That's exactly why I will not watch the remake of Footloose. I just can't leave because
you got to cut loose for it.
In this age they would not. They would make it ridiculous with some type of equality agenda. Not saying they don't have a right to, but just fucking let it be. It's gold the way it is from when it was made. Nah. Bad idea.
I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think? Potential for another for a second go around with this, either a sequel or a remake? Do you think it should happen?
No. The safer route would be like if you tried to remake it, but I don't know if you really should. And if you're going to, I mean, at least Kurt Russell's still kicking, so you can have some tie-in to it, some homage, but I don't know. Is there enough there to really make, get somebody excited that, hey, we're going to remake this? Or I know even pretty recently, Kurt Russell's even talked about like you give the generic answer of like, well, you never know what could happen. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like you kind of, it would just be too weird now because I know we're going to have, of course he's probably the job security of driving a truck for the last 40 fucking years for some reason. And still, yeah, I don't know. You got to tell me how he dealt with that damn monster. If you're telling me this guy is like some like American like Han Solo guy, tell me that little fucker's in his side seat is like his Chewie now or something. I don't know. Did he tame it? I don't know.
Left it. Made a life with him.
Right. And we were talking about like him being Han Solo. I was like, yeah, well, if his buddy's Chewbacca, I don't remember Chewbacca flying through the air doing kung fu bullshit. So I don't know.
No, you just wait.
I don't think so. I don't
know. Tex, what do you think? Is there a potential for a remake or sequel here, or should we just leave well enough alone when it comes to Big Trouble in Little China?
How many classic? Now, I'm not saying Big Trouble in Little China is a classic franchise. I'm saying it's a name that we all know. How many named franchises have we ruined with requels, sequels, prequels?
Yep.
How many? I mean, how many things have we ruined? Do we need to continue doing? If this were to happen, there's only two guys that I would let make this film: Robert Rodriguez or Quentin Tarantino. They understand the style, the funny that you got to bring to it, and the action. That is the only two guys I would let touch. And if Kurt Russell is not involved, throw it in the garbage and walk away. That would be my requirement.
What if it was just a cameo, Tex?
If he's in it, at least, yeah, fine.
It can be small. I'm not saying he has to go hit the gym at 80 years old or whatever he is and be the star. I'm not asking for that. But he needs to have a sizable enough role in the film that everybody can. I came for this 5 minutes.
So you at least see him in the trailer, you mean?
Right. If he can, if he needs to have like I said, enough in there to latch onto, not just 30 seconds in the background. But odds are it probably just needs to be left alone because any other director besides Tarantino or Rodriguez is going to shit the bed. There's no way.
Agreed.
I don't know. I think the way that John Carpenter talks about remakes is like everything's open to remake. You can remake anything. Either you're gonna remake it and you're gonna have it and you're gonna make a great movie and I'm gonna have two great movies to enjoy, or you're gonna remake it, your movie's gonna suck, and I always have the original to go back and enjoy. I don't have to watch the remake ever again if I don't want to. So if you've got an idea, I would tell an enterprising filmmaker, go with it if you think you can make a good movie out of it. However, there is that nostalgic part of me having grown up with this movie in this era that's like, I don't want you to touch some of these things. You are kind of, I feel like people are kind of poking at my childhood. Now, it's worked out pretty well in some cases. Top Gun Maverick, we talked about how that's one of the better sequels ever made. I
think that's as good as the original was.
There are some times they've gone back to the well after 20 or 30 years in the last 5 years or so that they've done pretty well with it. But again, a lot of it is about who's involved. I think it could be done. I don't know that I like the idea of either Rodriguez or Tarantino. Maybe Tarantino, because he's got a little bit of experience with the martial arts stuff anyway with Kill Bill. I think stylistically, those two
over the top style.
Are the same.
Well, let's be honest. Tarantino's one of the few that would be more apt to keep it to the original tone, and not try to just change it and make it modern.
Tarantino,
yeah,
because he's not going to exploit it just to make something new. He's going to honor the source material. That's what I like about Tarantino and both him and Robert Rodriguez.
The flip side of that with Robert Rodriguez is that Robert Rodriguez wouldn't want to pay homage to the original so much as he would want to do a different telling. He would want to give it his own artistic flair, and I don't necessarily care because I love Robert Rodriguez as a director. I mean, he's made some great movies, but I don't always think that even though someone's a good director, their directorial style will work for a story. As like I've said 100 times about Tim Burton. Tim Burton's a hit or miss as a film director. A lot of it, to me anyway, but a lot of it depends on the material that he's working with because he has a certain style as a film director that doesn't always match up with the material that he's trying to direct.
What about that guy, you guys, that company that takes horror? What about Blumhouse? What if they made a horror version of this?
No, fuck Blumhouse. Blumhouse can drown in a fucking lake. I hate that company. They ruined so many.
Well, what if
things.
somebody took it like a horror angle, like true horror?
What about like A24?
I'd be all right with that.
A24.
Yeah, A24
right now.
Maybe.
Well, here's the problem with A24. They're a art house studio. They're good with the kind of far out stuff. They don't do as well. I mean, hell, A24 is the studio behind that now canceled Crystal Lake TV show about Jason Voorhees, and it was going to be about Pamela Voorhees. So if somebody like A24 got a hold of this, I don't know if they would do it right. I'm not a huge fan of them. I did like their Von Erich movie that they just made earlier this year or whatever. But A24 is hit or miss for me. I'm not crazy about
outlandish shit, like you said. So I mean, this would be right up their alley. It's not like you're trying to make
that's
something.
Exactly what I was going to say. Wouldn't this be kind of the perfect kind of project?
The reason why they did that thing with Friday the 13th is they're like, oh, it's too much. I'm like, well, then why'd you do it? Like, if you're not gonna
okay. Well, did y'all like Midsommar?
Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet. It's been on my queue for on Netflix, so I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
they made that and what was that other one about the witches and the family, the mom that died? It had the mom from The Sixth Sense in it. I can't remember. Everybody loved the movie. Crap, I can't remember.
Emily something. Emily
I can't remember, but no, it's not that.
Emily Blunt.
A24.
Oh,
A24 is they're very hit or miss on their stuff. It's some stuff they do is great, but most of it is. I mean, they're very highfalutin. They're like, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it.
The reason why I brought it up is because this whole trend of turning everything that isn't horror, the Winnie the Pooh thing, and now a couple other things. So, but the thing is, maybe this could be
somebody who smoked too much fucking weed and was like, so what if I made a movie about a fucking walrus? Like, hear me the fuck out.
Hey,
hold on.
Walrus, yes. Hey, walrus, yes.
You mean?
Are you not excited? Are you not excited for Winnie the Pooh versus Mickey? Because they're making that movie too, buddy. So I can't wait to go see that one too. Yeah, seriously.
You know what?
I've seen the poster. It is legit. Yeah.
That sounds like something that I would have fucking come across on YouTube in 2008, and I'm like, it's just two fuckers in their backyard just fighting each other in Mickey and Pooh
LARPing.
I'm like, right, and I'm like,
seriously,
this is a real thing now. Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
If they didn't take it horror, the other angle is taking it to Broadway and turning it into a musical. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh God, no. I hate singing. Sing talking should be outlawed. I hate musicals. I cannot. I refuse to watch.
If they could turn Legally Blonde into a musical, they could turn Big Trouble in Little China into a musical.
No.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
What's that?
I agree.
Every year, Yen Shun. What's that fucking show that comes around all the time? That's really well done. It's just have them do it and just make it really goofy.
I don't know.
Okay, so let me read you guys this real quick, and this is exactly what I don't want a sequel or a remake to look like, and I'll give you my thoughts. In June of 2015, The Wrap reported that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was developing a remake to star as Jack Burton and produce with a $7 production film studio. Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz were hired as screenwriters. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Johnson expressed interest in having Carpenter involved in the film. Carpenter responded saying, quote, "It's very early in the process. I haven't even spoken to Dwayne Johnson about any of this. I'm ambivalent about a remake." Fast forward 3 years to August of 2018. $7 production president Hiram Garcia clarified that the film would be a sequel and a continuation of the previous film. The creative minds behind the new film acknowledge that they have no intention of replacing Kurt Russell by recasting Johnson as Jack Burton, but would make the follow-up movie to make a follow-up to the original. That's the only news that is on here about this. It's Wikipedia, mind.
Well,
but that's the only news.
You know what?
No,
here, I got it. No, I got your movie for you right here. Throw a mullet on Chris Pratt and fucking have him do it. Who cares anymore?
Of course, you said Chris Pratt.
That's the only damn person they want to do anything anymore.
That's all that Hollywood does.
Yeah,
Well,
or
and to
Ryan
speak to
Reynolds.
John Carpenter, he's like 90 years old. All he wants to do is play video games and watch basketball.
And don't forget
Like,
cashing
whenever-
royalty
Oh, 90.
checks.
Are you kidding me?
Huh? What, Court?
Me or her?
I was
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
don't forget cashing royalty checks, because if
Seriously,
you did this, you
He
make a
was
lot of
asked
money.
because, whenever Blumhouse did their Halloween trilogy, because for years Carpenter refused to do anything Halloween because they wouldn't pay him for what he thought he was owed for all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, he just got to the point where he was too old and didn't care. And he said, he's quoted as saying, "Just pay me my royalty check. I don't care." It doesn't matter. I mean, can you blame the guy? He's
No.
the life he's got
He
to
knows what he's
live.
about.
Yeah, but at the same time, he also knows his value. And hey, there's a limited amount of time to cash in on this. So, I could see him. I mean, he signed off on the Blumhouse stuff and just said, "Let me do the music." And of course, they let him do it because he's John Carpenter. So, he'll probably, for the right amount of money, be very, agreeable. So,
well, let me throw this out at you guys real quick.
Oh.
And I know that this is going to be, a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at this, but let's face it, we know what this guy's been putting out. After 2 Deadpool movies, the third one coming up, after Free Guy, after things like the Adam Project, and since the Clue movie apparently didn't work out, and I know that some people are going to roll their eyes at this, but wouldn't this be kind of the perfect vehicle for somebody like Ryan Reynolds to play with? Because when you talk about another director that could do this, he just worked with Sean Levy for Deadpool 3.
If you had to pick somebody.
Levy was rumored to have been the idea to direct the Clue movie that Ryan Reynolds wanted to do. Wouldn't these two guys together be awfully fucking good at something like this? I mean, because you don't have to take it seriously. You could do it fairly low budget.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if
you had to pick somebody, he wouldn't be the worst.
I mean,
okay, but here's the problem.
Right up his alley. He's action. He's comedy. I'm like, it's basically Deadpool. It's basically Wade Wilson without a mask. And
here's the problem.
He's kind of a bumbling idiot. Instead of being a great fighter and a great warrior and mercenary, he's kind of a bumbling idiot. Do you really think that Ryan Reynolds could do that?
I would rather see Chris Hemsworth than Ryan Reynolds. I
disagree with that.
I don't know.
Not Chris Hemsworth.
To me,
maybe they just shouldn't do it at all.
To me, Ryan Reynolds is too easy. Oh, well, just get Deadpool. Because when you make that, people are just going to say, "Oh, it's Deadpool without the mask." That's the only thing that's going to be
Detective
said.
Pikachu. I'm like, okay, so it's fucking Deadpool as Pikachu.
But that's the thing is,
right?
He's not. That's the thing is Jack Burton is not Deadpool. He's just a trucker who found himself in a situation. Right. Whereas Deadpool is
he's not.
Who's been doing this thing his whole life.
Well, going back to Deadpool, what if it was Hugh Jackman with the mullet?
Well,
that'd be fun,
I mean.
I would stay away from Ryan Reynolds. Not saying he couldn't do it. I know he could, but Ryan Reynolds is he
just
Deadpool.
Overdone? I mean, you think he's in too much?
Deadpool works in small doses. The more of it you do, it's not as good. So he needs to branch out and do some. I mean, my favorite Ryan Reynolds role is what was that? The Amityville Horror that he did years and years ago, where it was more of a serious role that he did. I mean, he's known for his comedy, but I think if he were to be cast in the Kurt Russell role here, people are just going to see Deadpool without the mask. That's what I'd be afraid of. That's why I'd stay away from it.
I think they would think that until they saw the movie.
Or Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell could do Kurt Russell's role.
True. Okay,
I would go Glenn Powell.
That does look pretty cool.
I've
not seen Glenn Powell do a lot of comedy, though. And this is a very comedic role, which is why I would prefer like a Ryan Reynolds over a Glenn Powell. I would like to see Glenn Powell take a shot at it, though, because I think that guy, I think he's the next big thing in Hollywood. I think
if I were casting, that's who I'd go with. So.
Twisters is going to put him over the top. Twisters is going to put him over.
I hope so. I hope it's good.
Unless that movie's an unmitigated disaster. I think that movie's probably going to put him over the top.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, doesn't Kurt Russell have a son? Yeah, Wyatt Russell. Can you just make him do it?
True. Hey, you know what? There's a certain symmetry in
Wyatt,
that.
yeah. Wyatt Russell, yeah. Him and Kurt were played the same role in the Monarch TV show, so he obviously doesn't mind playing his old man. So why not one more time? Either Wyatt Russell or Glenn Powell, either way, I think is better casting.
There is a certain symmetry in that I think would be awfully interesting.
Well,
but I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Sequel, reboot, Dwayne Johnson. I don't want Dwayne Johnson. Get Dwayne Johnson out of here. For one, you got to show up, and apparently he's not showing up to a lot of stuff, which is really odd. But I don't want Dwayne
Courtney
Johnson.
Love could do it. They could make the girl the main character. Have Courtney Love be the truck driver.
Yeah,
there
of
we
course,
go.
Cora's got to go woke and put a girl in it. There you go. Come on,
you'd have to put a bullet in her head in the opening credits to make it really watchable. It's like I would buy a second ticket to the next showing to watch her take a bullet again, then I would just leave. Like you can have my.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I watched the new Suicide Squad movie. I got to watch Pete Davidson take a bullet right in the fucking forehead.
Yeah,
I was like, that was worth it. That was
worth every penny of admission.
If I had as much pull as the famous incidents of Ronald Reagan being like, that shit was funny, rewind it, and Back to the Future just because he wanted to see that again. If I could do that, I'd be like, let me see Pete Davidson get shot again. That was funny.
Rewind that.
Is he a guy from SNL? Yes. Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I don't know the name otherwise. Yeah.
He's a skinny little white guy that looks weird, and apparently he likes to bang everybody's ex-wife. And he's got shitty tattoos. That's all I know about him.
What?
So,
sounds like a jerk.
He got a lot of fame because I'm not trying to dog him on this, but his father was a New York firefighter who was killed on 9/11. That's always kind of been
shit.
That's kind of always been one of the things that he hung his hat on. And that kind of helped make him famous. So now it's like people talk shit about him. They're like, oh, but his dad. People are like, oh, okay. It's like, no, he sucks. He's a piece of shit.
No,
like,
he's
mad respect to his father and to his memory. But Pete Davidson is an actor. I'm not telling you personally. As an actor and as an entertainer, I think he's just not a
I mean, there's being an asshole, but then there's just genuinely, you're just kind of a piece of shit. You're kind of a piece of shit, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, you're kind of a douchebag. There's nothing that can help you be less of a douchebag. But moving on to a little bit of trivia now. I found some pretty good ones about this. Although the original screenplay by first-time screenwriters Gary Goldman and David Z. Weinstein, it was envisioned as a Western set in the 1880s. But screenwriter W.D. Richter was actually hired to rewrite the script extensively and modernize it. As a Western, this would have been interesting. I mean, I'm kind of going back.
If they want to do a Western,
Shanghai Noon vibes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that I'm okay with. If they did the 1838 version with Wyatt Russell, that could be cool.
There you go.
Let me guess. They can make it make him the ancestor, like they did in Back to the Future, going back and seeing Marty McFly's great grand.
You don't have to tie
the stagecoach driver got caught up in the wrong crowd.
But that would be, I mean, take it out of modern day, whatever. I mean, hell, if they were going to show China, the amount of shit on the sidewalk and needles alone in San Francisco would prevent that 18-wheeler from driving anywhere in that town right now. Let's be honest. So it's going to have to be a different time period.
Well, what you do is you just go tell Gavin Newsom that the Chinese guy is coming to town to clean the streets.
Send the hate mail to Frank.
Hey,
send it to me. Send it to me. I don't care. That's my home state. I will fight Gavin Newsom in the ring right now. For the soul of California, I will jump in the ring with him right now.
Instead of Chinese gangsters, it can be fentanyl zombies is the army for the bad guy in the new one that they do. If they put it in San Francisco, it'd be great.
Boy.
There you go. Yeah.
But going back to Lopan, the Marvel supervillain, the Mandalorian, in the 1990s Iron Man comic book run by John Byrne and John Romita Jr. was actually modeled in appearance after Lopan.
I was thinking they looked similar, but I didn't know if they were connected or not. That's cool. I kind of recognize that.
I as soon as I read this, I was thinking back in my mind about the Mandalorian as we saw it in Iron Man 2, as we saw Noah Slattery playing it, Ben Kingsley playing it, and I was like, there were some visual similarities, but at the time I was like thinking it was kind of a generic kind of version of some martial arts gang leader or whatever who had just been around a while, mystical thing. And then, of course, they exposed it to being a big fraud, and the actual Mandalorian was, well, later on we find out, but the actual Mandarin was Guy Pearce's character. Yeah, we didn't get to the Mandarin until later on. But let's see. I thought I had a picture of this, but I did not. The Kurt Russell was actually suffering from a bad case of the flu during the scene just after the brothel. So the sweat on his body was quite real, caused by a severe fever.
Really?
I mean,
play with your pain, baby. That's what
Kurt
stars
Russell's
do.
He's a boss,
Play
man.
with your pain. Well, it's the same thing with what's it? Jeremy, help me out here. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I was gonna say Harrison Ford was fighting some fucking real bad stomach flu and some diarrhea.
Oh, in that scene where he shoots the guy. Yeah,
because he had to
he
go
was
through
supposed to do a
this whole
fist fight
choreography, and he was like, "Why can't we just shoot the fucker?" I'm like, "Yeah." And if it's the character, he's like, "You know what? Get the hell out of here!" Boom. One of the funniest moments too in the movie. I'm like, you know what? It worked out for the best. Honestly, I wouldn't.
The fact that Harrison Ford and Kurt Russell never did a team up buddy cop movie is a tragedy to humanity, because that might have been one of the greatest movies ever made.
Pretty fun,
like those two badasses would have been awesome.
Kurt Russell did do the buddy cop team up thing with Sylvester Stallone in one of the great mindless action movies of the '90s, in Tango and Cash, which I have on DVD.
But I'll put Harrison Ford over Sly, but that's just me. But whatever. I'm not a big Stallone guy.
I don't know. I think they're pretty much on par as far as I'm concerned. Stallone a better writer for sure, but I don't know. I don't know if I can put one over the other at this point. But let's
Rocky
see.
and Indy in the ring together, and he's just going to shoot him.
That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, totally. Let's see. The Three Storms were partially the inspiration for the popular characters of Lightning God Raiden from the Mortal Kombat fighting video game series, while Lo Pan was the inspiration for the evil sorcerer Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's Raiden. And then when I realized when this came out, I was like, that would have been about the right time. 86, and I think the year of our Lord when I was born, 92 is when Mortal Kombat came out. So I was like, yeah, that's about the right time. And your evil sorcerer guy is kind of one of your main protagonists.
Did you get some Did you get Johnny Cage vibes out of Kurt Russell in this film? Because I kind of did a little.
Oh no!
I mean, I know he's not a movie star, but like personality wise, he was very Johnny Cage.
The cocky kind of
the cocky arrogance, but Johnny Cage is also very into his appearance, very stuck up on that kind of thing. Whereas
that's
Kurt
the
Russell's
actor.
I'm walking around with a saddlebag on my arm, and I'm driving a truck for a living. He's not really into this, the aviator sunglasses and the fame and all that. He just kind of wants to do his thing.
Yeah, I don't know. He just seemed kind of similar to me for some reason. I don't know.
And okay, JSP just corrected me. Tango and Cash was 89. I thought it was like 91 for some reason, but okay, whatever. We'll take that movie in the 80s. We'll take that movie in the 80s. That's fine. Well, let's see. According to John Carpenter, we talked about this opening scene already. The opening of the film where Egg Shen, played by Victor Wong, is in the lawyer's office was added at the request of 20th Century Fox executives in order to make Kurt Russell's character, Jack Burton, more heroic. They didn't get the idea of Jack being a sidekick rather than a hero. Without the added scene, the film would have started with Jack driving to San Francisco. I think that, as much as I like the scene because it kind of builds up a little bit of anticipation for what's coming, because you have kind of this dramatic telling, being questioned by whoever. And, there's just like, oh, well, if you don't tell us the story, they might come back on you. And then, of course, he flashes his magic and shit like that. There was a bit of buildup for the movie, but it didn't really change the fact that through this entire movie, Jack is the sidekick to the other guy's character. I don't know. Am I wrong, Jeremy?
Isn't that kind of like what was that show, Green Hornet, where the sidekick was really the hero, but Green Hornet got all the limelight?
Oh, yeah. Seth Rogen's just kind of there. Yeah.
Well, not just the Seth Rogen, but the old 66 show Green Hornet.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah. With Bruce Lee, and I can't remember he played Green Hornet, but it was kind of reminiscent of that role as well. So.
Well, it seems more like the cast is just, what is that when there's a whole group of cast that kind of like the Goonies where no one's really in the lead? Was that called? I'm breaking on the word.
Ensemble cast.
Yeah, that's what this felt like to me more than anything.
See, I would disagree with that. I mean, when you have Kurt Russell, that name stands out. I mean, hell, he's like the only white guy in the whole movie. So he's kind of stand out in the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
He does, but I guess like we were saying, it's not like he runs this whole movie. I mean, so Yeah, I don't know. It's like he kind of like the point was like he just kind of got caught up in it, and you know,
Yeah.
it's as confident as he seems. I do love that scene like where he shoots that guy. And he's like, "Was that your first time killing somebody?" He's like, "No,
Yeah, no.
no." Like, right. I'm like, yeah, maybe you haven't been down that road, man, but it's like he still got that. Like, like I said, he knocks himself out right in the beginning of the damn fight. I'm like, dude.
I always thought that, like I said, watching this movie again, it kind of hit me for the first time after only seeing this movie for about 2,000 times over the course of the last 40 years. That Kurt Russell really is kind of the bumbling idiot for this entire movie. I mean, he's a badass in his own right, and he's a good guy for sure. But definitely, what's his name? Dennis Dunn's character is very much the one who's got his shit together. He's the main good guy, and Kurt Russell is very much the sidekick. He just steals a lot of scenes. Not the same way that Bruce Lee stole scenes from Van Williams in the Green Hornet TV series, but because it was a bit of a different dynamic. Whereas Bruce Lee was definitely the better warrior, but I don't think Van Williams his character was as much of a. I don't think he was as bumbling. I just think that he. As I recall, he was the one that was kind of. Well, the show was only on for a year, from '66 to '67, but he was. JSP was Van Williams. I actually had to look it up real quick, but whereas I think the Green Hornet TV series is supposed to be kind of a Batman Year One style thing, where we see him kind of grow into it a little bit. And we never really got to that.
They did a crossover. The '66 Green Hornet show did a 2-episode crossover with Batman '66, where they met and worked on a whole case together. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see where you had Batman and Robin, where Batman was more efficient. Then you had Green Hornet and Bruce Lee, the sidekick, where the sidekick was more efficient than Green Hornet. So, it was kind of a compare and contrast kind of thing. But it kind of had similar vibes to it in that way, but I don't know.
Let's see. Egg Shen, the vehicle that Egg Shen drove in the movie was actually a 1936 white touring car. That car, believe it or not, at least at the time that this was typed up, was actually still in service at Yellowstone National Park, the location for which it was originally built. It is called Hollywood and gives tours of Old Faithful. Now, whether that is still active, I have no idea when that piece of trivia was put on IMDb. So this car could be long dead by now. But I thought it was interesting that car had actually had like a real purpose to ferry tourists around.
Yeah, after what? You said 36 when it was, and you're talking 86, you're talking about 50 some fucking years, and it's still going. So, damn.
That's 50 years from when the movie was made.
That's what I mean. So now
that vehicle would be almost 100 years old now. If it was still running, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, true.
What I find more interesting than even that factoid is how in the hell do you get a cab over 18-wheeler through an alley in a major city like that with that much space to move? That's the most unbelievable part of this whole movie.
It's been many years since I've been in Chinatown in San Francisco, but I can tell you right now, the alleys are no shit this wide.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no way.
They have this gigantic Peterbilt just going through. Oh, turn right now. Number one, if you're turning right, even without the trailer behind you, you got to start like 50 feet behind you before you make a successful turn. It was just ridiculous how they were maneuvering that deal.
A lot of the alleys in Chinatown, as I remember, again, it's been a long time since I've been there, but as I remember, the alleys in Chinatown are barely wide enough to back like a pickup truck into, and they're actually designed that way for like deliveries and stuff like that, like a big box truck to get food deliveries. Can't happen. Right. That's why a lot of the restaurants will actually go to like places like Costco or Sam's Club, or it's Costco on the West Coast, Sam's Club out here. They'll actually go there and get their own and buy their own stuff in bulk instead of having it delivered by some of these places that deliver food to restaurants, Cisco, things like that, Centos, places like that. But yeah, that's there's a reason for that because everything in there is packed in so tight. Alleys are not that wide. Now in New York, I would have bought an alley that big because New York has some big alleys, but it's like not in San Francisco. There's no alley in San Francisco that's that big.
I've never been to either. I just imagine that, I know how active a city San Francisco is. I highly doubt an 18-wheeler can just zip-zap through buildings like it's, going down the highway. So, but whatever.
You're not driving a tractor truck through them fucking alleyways. There's no way. No way.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's see. Kurt Russell, he actually based the Jack Burton character on John Wayne. In Escape from New York in 1981.
I can see that.
He based Snake Plissken on Clint Eastwood. Ironically enough, Clint Eastwood was at one point approached to play Jack Burton in this movie and turned it down.
Oh, I could see that.
Wow. Hey, he's pulling from the best, going for Eastwood or John Wayne. I mean, you could go off of worse.
Is that maybe why they made that Dirty Harry joke where he tries to give them the big fucking like Magnum revolvers? Like, here, you want to feel like Dirty Harry? He's like, no.
You want to feel like Dirty Harry? Yeah.
He's like, no, I'll stick with this. I'm like, okay.
I don't know that Clint Eastwood would have. I don't know that Clint Eastwood would have been good in this role though, because while he does have a way of delivering comedic lines, they're very kind of deadpan and sarcastic almost. And I don't think that the over-the-top delivery that Kurt Russell gave the dialogue, especially the jokes, I don't think it would have hit the same coming from Clint Eastwood. Love Clint Eastwood, one of my favorite actors of all time, but I don't think it would have worked.
They still could have made the Dirty Harry joke, and he could have had a moment right there where you'd been like, all right, make my day, whatever.
The fact that we're never going to get Clint Eastwood playing Commissioner Gordon is sad. That should have been a thing 20 years ago, but he could be better than Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. But, I love me some Clint Eastwood.
I don't know. I feel like
you telling me J.K. Simmons doesn't make a good Commissioner Gordon?
89 Batman probably.
Oh no, I like him too. I actually like him better than Gary Oldman. That's just me.
89 Batman, he might have pulled it off, but once you get into like the Nolan stuff, I think he's kind of aged out of the role a little bit. I mean, Christ, he's 90 something.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What if he played Alfred?
No,
maybe.
He doesn't. He's too much of an A personality. He's too much of I'm the hero.
He could do it though. I'm just saying.
Clint Eastwood.
Also, Alfred is traditionally British too, so
he's also got to be British.
Clint Eastwood as
Has
Bruce
he ever done
Wayne
a
in a
British
Batman
accent?
Beyond movie.
not that I've
Give me that every day of the week.
I was like, when he's the old, like grizzled Batman.
Yeah, give me the 90-year-old version of Bruce Wayne. That's what I'm saying. Batman Beyond. That could be perfect. I'm down for that
really
too.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's see. The interior of Egg Chen's garage/office is actually Fire Station 23. That's the same building used as the business interior in the original Ghostbusters film.
Son of a bitch.
Really? Huh.
A lot of people don't realize that the exterior shot of that is in New York, like that actually exists. That was an old firehouse that is big for years. I think even before they filmed Ghostbusters, there was kind of a heritage site. It went back to like the 1800s or something like that. All of the interiors were shot on the soundstage. Like if you walk into that firehouse, like none of it looks like that. All the interiors are shot on a different site.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I think they actually. I think for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, they actually went in and did some work inside the firehouse to shoot in there. But for the most part, the layout of all that is completely different than what it is in real life.
Right.
But,
doesn't it cost more to shoot in New York though? I mean, isn't that a high tax bracket or high tax rate to shoot in? That's why they don't do a lot of movies there.
You can just get next year.
Right. I think they give a lot of tax breaks. That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why Pinewood put studios in Atlanta, because the state of Georgia was giving them tax breaks.
Even like when
British
even
Columbia,
back in the
Canada
80s,
too.
Whenever they did Jason Takes Manhattan, they did like one day in Times Square, and the rest was Toronto because it looks like New York. So I mean, that's that's why, because it's so expensive in New York City. But
you make a whole movie called Jason Takes Manhattan, and he walked through there for about 2 minutes, and I was kicked over some dickhead's boombox. I was like, okay.
That's one of the reasons they filmed all the CW Arrowverse stuff, Arrow, Flash, all that stuff.
Up in Canada,
all up in Canada, because they got huge tax breaks. Yeah. So.
So
really, it's about tax breaks more than anything else. I mean, you don't really get them in LA unless it's cheaper to film on the lot.
Well, the state of California taxes everything.
Everything. Yeah, they tax every breath you take in California. That's why a lot of productions are moving somewhere else. But what could have been. Kurt Russell, actually, I didn't find a good picture for this one. Kurt Russell turned down the lead role of Connor McLeod in Highlander in 1986 to appear in this film.
No, there can be only one.
He made the right choice.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have rather had him in this than in Highlander.
Then Highlander, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think Chris Lambert probably played that role a bit better.
Mhm.
I've
never been into Highlander.
Not that Kurt Russell would have been good, but I think.
Isn't that a supernatural thing? Highlander?
It's like,
it's like a sword and shield kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
kind of.
I thought it was a time traveler thing, like superpowers. I don't know. I've never watched it.
It's been a long time since I've watched Highlander. You know what's really funny is Highlander 2, by all accounts, is considered one of the best like fantasy movies ever made. Mm-hmm. Whereas Highlander 2 is considered one of the absolute worst films, period, ever made. like that movie is like people are like Highlander 1 is great. Highlander 2 is like it's a pile of piss.
Like Grease in the sequel. Like just don't bother.
Yeah. And then the Highlander 3 came out and kind of redeemed it a little bit, but everybody's like, we'll watch Highlander 1, then we'll skip Highlander 2 and watch Highlander 3, and then I'll watch 3.
I would rather watch.
They had a Highlander 2 for a long time too.
I will watch Beastmaster before I watch Highlander. I'll put it to you that way.
Hey, Beastmaster's an awesome movie. I grew up watching Beastmaster. I'm gonna fuck what anybody says.
Actually, I was gonna say, didn't
I did too. Hey, I can't tell you how many times I saw Beastmaster. I saw Beastmaster on TNT's Joe Bob Briggs Monster Vision 1,000 times because TNT owned the rights to it because it cost like $5 to show. So they played all of those Beastmaster movies. So I've seen all of them.
Didn't The Exorcist kind of follow that same path? Like 1 is amazing, 2 is absolute fucking dog shit, and 3 was like, that's better.
Oh, but 2 we don't talk. 2 we don't talk about. 3's pretty good, but yeah.
Yeah, John Campion's got this 3 movies like they call it his unholy trinity. One of them is Battlefield Earth, which I think.
I was gonna say, can we talk about Battlefield Earth for a fucking second?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Would you rather watch Battlefield Earth or Highlander 2? Because holy
the thought has crossed my mind that we should review that movie because it's a great concept. Not great execution, but a great concept. But
do we need to consult the Church of Scientology to get there?
I don't like John Travolta as much, and I don't like the fucking Scientology church. I don't want to do this movie. I want to be hating myself.
Yeah, it's crossed my mind a few times, but I think we'll lay off it.
I'll do it for show purposes, but oh my god,
his unholy trinity.
We should reach out.
The worst movies he's ever seen is Highlander 2. What did I just say? Battlefield Earth. And what was the other one he mentioned? I forget. I'm drawing a blank now.
There's got to be
Pee Wee Herman.
No. Pee Wee Herman.
Oh no, that movie's great. You shut your mouth. I don't hear that. Pee Wee Herman went to the Alamo. God damn it! You shut your mouth. I don't want to hear that.
He sat in a chair that was a female personality. And that's not supposed to creep children up. He's sitting in a chair that's supposed to be a woman.
Pee Wee Herman sang "The Stars at Night Are Big and Bright Deep in the Heart of Texas" in a motherfucking movie. He is a badass.
And I forget, what was it that he did in a movie theater on his own time? What was that again?
He jerked off. Who gives a shit? He jerked off. Okay, who cares? Big deal. Okay. Big deal.
And actually, I think he got acquitted of that. Or pleaded down.
Pearl clutches.
But let's see. Jeff Bridges was actually considered to play Jack Burton since he worked with John Carpenter on Starman in 1984, which is another fantastic movie. He was also considered for Kurt Russell's roles in Escape from New York in 1981 and The Thing in 1982.
Oh, no. Only Kurt Russell can play. Well, I don't want to say only he can play Snake Plissken because that's an awesome, which we should review. Escape from New York, by the way. I love that movie. But I don't see Jeff Bridges as Snake Plissken. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I love Jeff Bridges. Yeah, I mean, dude, the guy's a Hall of Famer.
No, Jeff Bridges was great. He did great in Iron Man. Obviously, the dude. I mean, who doesn't love that role?
I don't.
When he did, what's that? Oh, he played Rooster Cogburn in the remake of the John Wayne movie a few years ago. I can't remember which one he did, but he was.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was good. Jeff Bridges is good, but he's not Snake Plissken. I don't think
so. Cora, have you ever seen Starman?
No, I never even heard of it.
You'll get a kick out of it. It's I think it's right up your alley. It's like part sci-fi, part romance.
As long as it's better than Spaceballs.
No, not much is better than Spaceballs. But No, you should find it. I think it's a movie that you'll like. There's not like any
I'll
gore or
look
anything, but it's like
what's it called
sci-fi.
again? Star what?
It's called Starman.
Okay, let me look it up now.
It's got Karen Allen and Jeff Bridges, and Jeff Bridges plays an alien who comes down to Earth for whatever the reasons are. It's been a million years since I watched this movie. And he takes the form of this woman's dead husband, and he's trying to get back to where his spaceship can meet him, which just happens to be a meteor crater in Arizona, the big crater out in Arizona, so he can catch up with his ship and go home, kind of a la E.T. And then, of course, it's the adventures along the way of them trying to escape the people trying to catch him and stuff like that. But you'll get a kick out of it. It's like part sci-fi, part romance.
Cool. I'll look for it.
Have y'all ever watched John Carpenter's first movie that he did out of USC, Dark Star?
I've heard of it. I can't remember seeing it.
I've heard of it, but I've always wanted to watch it. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I've always wanted, because I think I've seen every other John Carpenter movie, but I've never seen Dark Star. I want to finish the catalog off, but I need to find that one and watch it one day. But I want to check that out too.
I don't know what this is that I'm looking at, but it's some WWF like fucking grudge match between Battlefield Earth, Highlander 2, cover your ears, Frank, Howard the Duck, Jaws 4: The Revenge, which is also and Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I just thought of a really great show we should do, Frank. The 5 movies you never want to watch again.
Oh, I can think of a few.
And we could grill each other, because I'm sure the 5 I hate you all love. So
I'm pretty
5 movies I would never. Hang on, 5 movies I'd never watch again.
Like you would never watch again. Like you never want to watch again that you hate. 5 movies you hate.
I mean, I'd never watch.
There's a long
list fucking again. Jesus.
You see, that's the thing. Is I feel like I have to watch a movie twice to get the full effect. There are some movies that I'm like, my God, this movie's bad. And then I'll be sitting around the house. I'll have like a Sunday to kill, nothing to do, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll give this movie a second chance. Maybe I didn't get it the first time.
I can tell you,
and then I'll watch it again.
I can tell you what my first
one. Things about it that I like, but then maybe I'm just like, I'll get halfway through it and be like, no, I stopped watching this movie for a reason.
Halloween Ends would be number 1 on my list because
it's the best movie ever because Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't die.
Go back and watch.
That would have made more sense.
I can do another 3 hours on here by myself, just yelling about Halloween Ends. It still infuriates me what they did to the show.
But you know what? Unfortunately, we're at the end of the show, so there isn't time. So by the time you remember again, you'll forget, and it'll be too late. So
you wait. I'm taking mental notes over here. Your bullshit, Corey. You just wait.
Keep drinking your whiskey, and you'll forget your mental notes. Go on, take a sip.
No, Battlefield Earth won on this one. Then it's Plan 9 from Outer Space, Highlander 2, Howard the Duck, and then Jaws: Revenge, which is surprising. But in that list, I mean, they're all fucking terrible.
Yes, they did make a TV series of Starman, and Robert Hayes did play the lead character in that. I don't remember that. I remember the show. I think I may have watched a few episodes. I don't remember it being very good at all. One of those shows in the 80s, they're just throwing shit against the wall, see what stuff. But moving on a little bit, you know what's funny is Zach Braff actually went dressed as Jack Burton to Kate Hudson's 2014 Halloween party and ran into who else but her stepfather, Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. That's awesome.
I tried to find this picture and I couldn't, but apparently they did pose for a photo together, which I think that's a golden moment.
Pretty great. Oh yeah, the odds. That's awesome.
But also, one more piece of trivia. The lipstick coming off of Kim Cattrall and onto Kurt Russell actually wasn't a planned joke, but something they improvised when they saw the makeup used on the actors come off so easily. Carpenter notes this is just another example of how certain actors won't let themselves look like a fool and why Russell was such a perfect choice for the Jack Burton role.
That's
because
hilarious.
It's goofy and it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he still walks in there like confident as shit with the fucking lipstick smeared on his face.
Love it.
He didn't come in like a clown in this picture that I remember watching it last night. I was like, I need some white paint on his face. And
hang on, wait a minute. Keep that picture up there. Steve from Stranger Things, they copied that exact haircut for Steve.
Yes, because who else had fucking 1986? Everyone had that damn haircut.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
No, like if you could side by side, I mean, obviously, I know you don't have the picture, but just do it in your head. That they modeled that exact haircut as Steve on Stranger Things. That's hilarious. I just realized that.
Yes, the show's based in the like mid '80s.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well,
I know. Yeah, I just
not me though.
right.
Hell no, not me.
Right.
Like here,
If
like,
they did it,
yeah, obviously Steve.
Yeah,
Harrington,
that's what I'm saying.
he's got the Kurt Russell look.
And put that picture of Kurt back up there for a minute. If they obviously it's too late to do it now, but if you wanted to do a mutton chops Wolverine in the '80s X-Men, there's your Wolverine right there, buddy. Like
Right.
Kurt Russell could have done great as that role. Like it's a shame it never happened, but that was a missed opportunity as well. So.
Oh, wait, there you go. If you had a picture of Kurt Russell with the sunglasses on, you could definitely get that picture of Steve with the glasses.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just gave him the Kurt Russell cut. That's all they did. So it's a good one to copy from. Hell of a mullet.
Yep.
That's all the trivia I've got for today. That seems like you got a place to start closing this review out anyway. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll start with you, Lady Cora. What are your final thoughts on 1986's Big Trouble in Little China?
It's a good classic movie to watch if you just want to have something on and not take the world too seriously for a little bit and catch yourself going, what the fuck, and laugh, and then just take your mind off the world for a while. It's a good one.
And to my man Tex, give me your final thoughts on Big Trouble in Little China.
Well, it's no John Carpenter's Halloween. I couldn't do a John Carpenter movie and not show Michael Myers. I had to have my boy pop up. But it's in the Carpenter catalog. Carpenter's one of those guys where you need to realistically see all of his films, even the not as good ones like this one. It's still fun to watch. A bad Carpenter film is better than most good movies. So, check it out.
Jeremy was fuming a little bit. I saw him look back at his pop figures, annoyed that Tex pulled his pop figure out of the box.
Hey,
no, I was trying to realize, I remember what I had over here, to be honest.
Jeremy flexes his Funko Pops. I can pull mine out too, buddy. It's all good. I got,
I think Jeremy
bigger
forgets they're meant to be opened. They come in a box.
Toys are meant to
open.
Toys are meant to be opened, Cora, not left in their box. Have you not seen Toy Story?
Exactly.
They go psycho if you don't open them. So, just saying.
That's some pretty big words coming for you to be calling me psycho, but okay, man.
Hey, I know what I am. Hey, real recognizes real here. It's all good.
What are you?
I work in a haunt, and I've been told before, like, you got to be some sort of messed up to work in a haunt. I'm like, no, you don't. What are you talking about?
Hey, I know I'm this close to being in the loony bin. I'm perfectly happy with who I am. It is all good.
The whole state of Texas is a loony bin. Just saying. You're a home, buddy. You're a home.
Not the whole state, just the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
You mean the best part with your current sitting, World Series champion there, Frank. So
give it a couple months. We'll have it back. We'll take it back in a couple months. We're taking it back. Taking it back.
And we got boats too, so suck on that. So.
Well, hey, he won 3 with us, so you got a couple more before you catch up to us. But Jerry, what do you think of Big Trouble in Little China?
It's like, I think, like Cora said, if you just want to turn your brain off for a minute and just enjoy the ride, and it's a fun 80s just action comedy movie, really. And it's something that I was going to mention at the start, but I can say it now. I'm like, something that like is synonymous with like Kurt Russell that I always think of, at least, is this movie. Like, you say his name, I immediately think of like, oh, okay, Big Trouble in Little China, Overboard, or someone like me who's, my age. I'm like, oh, I think of Sky High, where he's, a superhero. But yeah, so for what it is, I mean, it's a pretty good standout movie from the mid 80s, and it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah, for me, this is one of those movies where you look, if you just look at some of the poster art. I mean, like, I got the thumbnail off. That's pretty much what the poster art looked like. It's like you can't possibly take this movie that seriously. It's called Big Trouble in Little China. It's got it just looks goofy. So if you go into this movie thinking you're going to be seeing either a really intense martial arts story-driven thing. No, it's not how it's going to work. It's a dumb movie that you just turn your brain off and watch it and have fun. Don't try to make sense of what doesn't make sense.
When they open it with a guy talking about Pork Chop Express on a CB radio, you know it's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah. I love it. That's kind of how they book into the movie too. It's like he's going into this little talk on his CB with all the other truckers hearing him, and then it ends like that. Also, did you guys notice what he was drinking at that last scene when he's driving in the truck and talking?
I was trying to look.
He's actually drinking a bottle of that stuff that the one guy made. Because I thought it was earlier when he's first doing his talking, I thought it was funny that it's like pouring down rain, it's overcast and dark, and this guy's driving a fucking big rig wearing sunglasses. I was like, "There's no possible way you can see the road."
Sunglasses at night. Sunglasses at night. I don't understand, but
I was like, "There's no possible way you can see the road in those conditions." But I'm like, "Whatever, it's a movie. Who cares?"
I was about to put my sunglasses on, but I realized I left them in the truck. Damn it!
Do you know why he probably wore the sunglasses? He was probably hungover in real life, and his eyes were bloodshot when they were filming it. So.
Hey, that is a real problem for some of us. I don't want to hear any fuss out of you.
I'm not.
That is a real condition.
I'm just saying it could be right.
You just
Well, they probably admit there was a problem.
But yeah, it's a fun.
There you go. Jeremy knows what I'm talking about.
I got you.
Yeah, there's a reason why some movies get cult status. It's like after a while, people kind of catch on. They're like, "Wait a minute, this movie is actually really awesome. If I just watch it and want to enjoy it." And you have people now they're big, like Kurt Russell again, already big. But I mean, Kim Cattrall was kind of getting into her fame at this point. This was after Porky's, and I think this was right around the time of Police Academy. So I mean, her career was just starting to kind of hit its stride. She actually had said it to me.
Kurt Russell's T-shirt.
Yeah, Kim Cattrall had actually said
that T-shirt alone
theater
has its own cult status. I mean, people still like. You can go to Comic Cons anywhere, and you will find knockoffs of that shirt that people still make to this day, just because it's so 80s, it's so wacky and out there. I mean, it's crazy.
You know what's funny is like when I searched for Big Trouble in Little China, I just Googled it, and the first damn thing that kept coming up was his fucking boots that he wore, like just like a replica or something like the boots. And I was like, "What is with these damn boots?" And I forgot. I'm like, "Oh yeah, he wears these ridiculously like tall, like button-up boots that he's pulling a knife out of." I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. He has
Well, down here, I've got cowboy boots like that. We call those snake boots. Because they go up to the knee, so when you're walking through high foot, like how roughage or whatever, you don't get bit or whatever. But one other thing I noticed, Thor from Thor: Love and Thunder, he looks a lot like Kurt Russell in this movie. I wonder if that had to be intentional. Like seriously, I mean, obviously Thor: Love and Thunder was an '80s. I mean, down to the font that they used for the movie. He looks like Kurt Russell in this movie, besides the Thor parts. But I don't know. Kinda
Maybe.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a super fun movie that if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you really should. It's just again, turn your brain off, watch it, enjoy it. It's not meant to be pigeonholed into any one genre. Like I said, it really is a good recipe of a lot of different stuff that's mixed together just right by John Carpenter and by the cast. I think it's a pretty fun movie. You can check it out right now. It's free on Tubi. I think it's also on one of the streamers.
It's only on Tubi for 6 more days, by the way. I did see that today.
I think that was yesterday, so you got like 5 days now.
Yeah, but go check it out. It's a lot
5
of fun.
days,
It's a couple hours of your life you're never going to get back, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it, in my opinion. Thanks to all my amazing co-hosts for coming and hanging out as usual. Dallas, your Countess Lady Cora, where can the folks at home find you on the internet?
Here, I'm allergic to the internet.
That's fair.
Where else do you need to be anyway?
Exactly.
He classed up the joint. To the Sheriff of the Lone Star State, my man Tex, where can the folks at home find you, sir?
Hopefully here when work allows me to come home and see my family and hang out with my friends on YouTube. So,
hey,
hopefully
are we family too, asshole? Are we your YouTube family?
You're different kind. You're like the cousin that like I talk to at family reunions, but like when you leave, I talk shit about you.
Bad touch. Shut up.
There it is.
Had to get one. Had to get one in.
That's
I had to get one.
That's the T-shirt idea. I need to have Brady work on. We should have a bad touch.
Yeah,
T-shirt.
bad touch. We need a bad touch, like a squirrel moment or something.
Oh, if you could get it, I would wear a bad touch text, knowing if that's me. You know how much my ego would get lifted. Oh my God, that would be great.
I hope nothing else would get lifted.
Because he would walk around like, you know what? I caused this right here.
And to my hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Well, back here and hopefully still here. Same bat time, same bat channel. It's kind of funny how, like, it's funny how, like, I fell off and, like, for the last, like, couple shows, I'm like, yeah, you know, you guys don't have to be here just because I'm not here. Like, you can still do this without me. It's okay. I'll be back. You know, so
doing my best.
Yeah, no, I get it. So hopefully this makes more sense. I definitely didn't like put this mic together like 20 minutes before we came on here, and I was literally about 2 seconds from dying Frank. Like, how the fuck does this thing work? And
that's exactly what you told us. I just put this up 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I pressed the button and it worked. So I'll have to remember how.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
All right.
And just like every other couple, his woman came in, pressed one button, and saved the day.
She just. I was like, okay, fine, if that's how you did it. But hopefully now, because if you can kind of see right here, got the PS5, and you can see the controllers down here. So hopefully now this is a little more contained, and I can actually do some stuff now that I've got the space to do so. And as you all are well aware of watching the old videos, this is not all the pop figures and all the bullshit that I have. Trust me, it'll get bigger.
That's what she said.
As for me, we hope anyway. For her sake.
I was like, he's not going to leave it there. Don't leave it hanging. That's rude.
As for me, you'll find me back here on Tuesday. We're going to have special guest Tuesday, Dr. Nick, the Garbage Man. He's going to be here as we go over Critters, the 1986 cult classic. That's a fun movie to watch. I actually watched it today just for shits and giggles. It's a fun movie to watch. We'll be breaking that one down.
I actually prefer
with Dr. Nick.
Critters to Gremlins, actually. Fair. Surprisingly enough.
I think I prefer Gremlins a little more, but I love both these movies equally. They're
or we can go with the fact that, you know, Trolls and Trolls 2, they're not actually trolls. So
true.
Wrap your mind around that.
True. But you will see us back in here on Tuesday with Dr. Nick going over Critters. Thank you all for coming out. We very much appreciate it. Thanks to my amazing co-host for Derek.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Turn off. Hey, AI, Cora, turn off. Power down.
She's not Alexa. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to make this the next shirt. One of them's going to be Cora. One of them's going to be Tex.
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I dig it.
I'm here for that.
That's how that's going to go.
I like it.
That's our celebrity death.